Hello, fellow fantasy sports fans. Welcome to MFSN The Hub's Fantasy Football Waiver Wire Show every Monday at 8:45 p.m. Eastern, 5:45 p.m. Pacific. I am your host, Dr. Dan Ratner. I am here with Casey Vlad to the Bone Scheinbold and Ross the Boss.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ross the Boss. And I want to talk football waiver wire. So many waiver wires going on. Sorry, guys. I want to talk football waiver wire with you, cowboy. Tell us what's going on in the NFL, Dr. Dan Ratner.
All right. See, I told you we shouldn't have been talking about baseball trades because you almost announced a baseball show because of it. But that's okay. We're back on track, guys. It is week 12 in the waiver wire, week 13 in football. Obviously, we're actually finishing up week 12 right now with the Monday Night Football game, but we do our show on Monday nights. We're trying to get you ready for the coming week and the waiver wire pickups. As a reminder, it is 60% and below on Yahoo in terms of rostership. Those are the people we recommend. So if you're not hearing us recommending, Ezekiel Elliott, you know why. Not that I'd actually be recommending him that much right now. Get Tony Pollard instead, but they're both above 60%.
Yeah.
In any case, guys, we're going to jump in right away with QBs. Let's get to it. People are in their playoff pushes. A lot of people are in must-win now situations. Not only that, we still have some of the bye weeks going on. So you got some teams that are on bye. Some people need to plug some guys in. Ross, let's start with you. Who's the quarterback you'd pick up?
So I actually need a quarterback this week. No joke. I have Aaron Rodgers, and I just carry one quarterback on purpose because I'm going to start him every week. And now it's a bye week, so I'm in a little trouble. But these are the guys that are open in my league that I'm thinking about picking up. Tyson Hill is probably going to get the start from New Orleans on Thursday. He just signed a huge deal, like a KC Seinfeld deal. Huge. And if he starts this week, I like that a lot. I don't know if he's starting it, but we'll find out. But, the other guy's been doing horrible. The other guy, I'm going to say, he's a rookie. I'm going to say, Ross, why do you want to start with 310 yards, 2 touchdowns, Mack Jones? I like Mack Jones, too, so I'll just give 2. There's a few other guys, but I want you guys to talk about him. But I'm recommending Tyson Hill. It's kind of like somebody like, what the hell are you doing? And then Mack Jones, who's the rookie sensation, who is the leader right now for Rookie of the Year in my book. Those are my 2 recommendations for the week if you need a quarterback.
Okay, so just a little commentary on what you said. It's Taysom Hill, just making sure we've got that pronunciation right. Tyson Hill, I think, is a brand of frozen chicken. You can pick it up if you want. That's pretty good. But Mack Jones, meanwhile, I totally agree with you, Ross. Mack Jones, to me, this is the point in rookie years where sometimes people are really starting to turn it on. I feel like the game's slowing down for him. He's on the way up. To me, he's the number 1 pickup at quarterback. He's only 38% owned. Not a bad backup is Carson Wentz. I've been talking about him for a while.
I left him for you guys.
I appreciate it. 58%
he had 3
owned.
touchdowns and 306 yards last week. That's pretty good.
He, at least for fantasy purposes, he is a really solid quarterback. Casey, who do you have?
Well, I had Carson Wentz and Mack Jones 1 and 2 also. You know what? Next week you got Taylor Heinecke going against Las Vegas. That's not the worst draw in the world for him. He's putting up some good numbers week in and week out. He's not all that. I think he's ranked as a top 15 quarterback on the year at this point. So it's not somebody I'd want to be my playoff quarterback, but if you need a win in the next coming weeks and your guy has a really tough matchup, Taylor Heinecke is another one I would consider.
I certainly have him on my list as well. The only other guy that I thought to mention is Matt Ryan. I'm not saying he's that great. Atlanta obviously sputtering. Cordell Patterson.
Let's go back to Atlanta real quick. They're 5-6. They're not like they're in the playoff hunt. That's the crazy thing about Atlanta. It's like we talk about how bad they are. They're 5-6. Cordell Patterson had 2 touchdowns last week. He looked unbelievable. And as much as we don't like Atlanta's team, they're playoff contending. It's unbelievable what's going on in Atlanta.
It is unbelievable. Now, I just want to make a couple of announcements at this point because, first of all, I want to bring in our sponsor. That's Killcliff. I'll do that right away. Killcliff CBD, the best tasting CBD drink in the world. Orange Kush, Mango Tango, Strawberry Daze, the grapest of all time, and Joe Rogan's spicy pineapple called the Flaming Joe. Founded by a Navy SEAL, for those who aren't Navy SEALs, and for Navy SEALs. I always have to say that. It's the biggest no-brainer in the history of drinks. Go to killcliff.com. Now, a couple of other announcements. This is the second to last waiver wire show for football this year because we are getting close to playoff time. So
what?
Yep. Listen.
Say it ain't so,
we helped
Joe.
you all year. we've helped you dominate your league. You're going to win because of us.
Yep.
You have us only for these 2 more weeks. Pay attention. See who we're telling you to grab. Let's go to running backs. Now, guys, are you gonna let me do the honor, given how much I've talked about the top running back pickup?
I'm giving you credit because this was your favorite handcuff the whole year. It's all you talked about was this guy. I was getting sick of it. I thought it was Alexander Hamilton, so I picked up the wrong guy like an idiot.
I know. But Alexander Madison, he sounds like a cross between.
When you tell the group about your genius handcuff with Cook, I loved it. I'm giving you full credit. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Listen, a guy like Alexander Madison, he's the kind of backup that you want to have. And really, there's not a whole lot of difference between him and Tony Pollard. The only difference with Tony Pollard is he's got some standalone value. So I'd rather have Tony Pollard between the two. But Alexander Madison is a guy who can carry running back 1 numbers if he is the running back 1. If Dalvin Cook is down, he is a running back 1 instantly. There's no need to have people on your team like maybe a 4th or 5th wide receiver when you can have a guy that can be lightning in a bottle and get you in the playoffs. I've been talking about it all year. Here we are. And I'll say if I screw things up, but this one I got right. Alexander Madison looks to me like he's probably going to be starting certainly next week and probably the following week.
I agree. Separated shoulder for Devon Cook, which is a very painful injury for a running back. At least 2 weeks, Dr. Dan Rat.
Yeah, and meanwhile, that separated shoulder, it becomes hard to hold the ball, so fumbles can happen. I'm not sure they're going to rush him back all that soon. Alexander Madison, he could single-handedly win people leagues. I've been saying this the whole year. He's still 51% owned. Grab him as soon as you can. Casey, anything to add to that?
Well, I don't think there's much to add to Alexander Madison. But look, we know which quarter we've been saying all year long, which running backs are durable and which ones aren't. And it's proving fruitful at the end of the season because, well, who's out now? Dalvin Cook and Christian McCaffrey just went down for the year again.
Guys, and let's talk about this real quick. The 3 top picks in fantasy football what was it? McCaffrey, Cook, and Henry, someone in that order. Just mix them up and throw it in a bag, and there you go. I mean, they're all not playing, which shows you that even if you have the top pick or the second, third, doesn't matter. If your guy's not playing, they're not playing, and that's why the middle of the draft is so important. What you do in the middle of the draft,
handcuffs are so important, which we talk about all the time. Having the appropriate handcuff, and so. Chuba Hubbard's on a bye this coming week, so obviously it's hard to recommend him as a top pickup for this week, but he's still only 40% owned, and he's going to be the guy when he comes back for round 1 of the playoffs. So if you can get a number 1 running back, if you're already going to make the playoffs and you don't need necessarily the top guy this week, I would also recommend getting Chuba Hubbard because going into the playoffs, then you have somebody who is a number 1 back. I mean, he might not be a top 10 back in terms of number 1 of running backs, but he's going to be the workhorse for the Carolina Panthers.
I disagree with that.
We saw how well they
throw the ball on that, but keep going.
You disagree?
I think Abdullah's going to get a lot of handoffs. I think they'll split it up like 50-50. That's my opinion. I could be wrong, but I think Abdullah is going to steal a lot of handoffs away from Hubbard.
Pick both of them up because I'm certain Abdullah's less than 60% owned too.
Oh, he's like 10.
I'm gonna weigh in on with Casey on that side. I've been talking Chuba Hubbard all year.
Yeah,
he's not as good as Madison at all. And I also agree with you. He's going to lose some carries. I think it's going to be more like 70-30 though.
Okay, 70-30. I'm marking this down.
Mark it down.
Just like last week with Coleman for the Jets. You guys disagreed with me on that. We'll talk about that soon, but keep going.
All right, I look forward to it. Casey, who else do you have in mind as a pickup who's not on bye? Let's see if we can find somebody to
I like Boston Scott still for Philadelphia. He's going against the Jets this week. He's a legend for you. He proved us both wrong. He had a touchdown again last week, by the way. I just want to point that out. So they do trust him in the goal line situations. He gets the carries there. It's not like he's an afterthought like Kenneth Gainwell has become for the Eagles.
He really has. And Boston Scott, 51% of the snaps he was out there for last week, on Sunday. And he had a touchdown and 72 yards too. I mean, he is the man in Philadelphia. I hate that running game in Philly, but if you need a running back, I think you're right, Case. I think Boston Scott's a good pickup.
Okay, now speaking of a running game that I hate, but is a pretty good value pickup here, what about Jamal Williams of the Detroit Lions?
He was on my list, and Swift is hurt.
And what's the update on that?
Taylor Swift is hurt. She may not play.
Taylor Swift has hurt feelings.
Yes,
right.
So Jamal has 15 carries,
DeAndre.
65 yards, not too bad. And if Swift doesn't play, Jamal becomes huge. I mean,
and Jamal Williams, let's be honest, he was really effective in Green Bay the past couple of years when he was given the chance. So this isn't a guy we don't know about. We know he can do it. So if they give him the chance, I mean, Jared Goff, what did he have, like 11 completions for 78 yards or something ridiculous like that last week?
I don't know who's worse, him or Cam Newton with no touchdowns and 92 yards.
Jalen Hurts wasn't very good. Let's throw him into that mix too.
These are all horrible. If you started any of these guys,
I'm gonna. As much as I'm a Giants fan, and I'm going to lobby for Jalen Hurts there. He was bad. His 3 interceptions, 2 of them were just god awful. But Jalen Reagor dropped 2 touchdown passes in the last 4 plays of the game. Like literally dropped one, hit him in the face mask, the other hit him directly in the hands, and the game should have been won. And Jalen Hurts could have been considered a hero, but it was pretty bad.
I'll mention the 2 Tennessee running backs. Hillard, who had 12 rushes for 131 yards and a touchdown. He had a big run. That's why he had so many yards. And the other one is Foreman. He had 19 carries. And I believe he had like close to 100 yards too. He was in there for 50% of the snaps. So those are the 2 running backs for Tennessee. So I'm not quite sure who to pick up out of those 2 guys. I would have a guess. I would say Hillard. He looked a lot better than Foreman, but Foreman had a horrible fumble during that game yesterday after a big run. But again, if you need a running back, either one of those guys could be a good pickup.
I'm actually going to lean more towards Foreman just because of usage before, but the fumble is worrisome. Let me say one other thing about Jamal Williams, though. This is a guy who game script won't matter. He catches passes also.
Yeah.
So I really do think he'll be valuable. One other guy to mention who's very similar to Jamal Williams but doesn't have the role right now is Naim Heinz. 55% owned. To me, now that Madison is going to be picked up and Chuba Hubbard is going to get picked up, I would pick up Naim Heinz. If Jonathan Taylor goes down, he's going to be massive. Just grab him.
And Coleman for the Jets, I talked about it last week, 47% of the snaps he was in for. He had over 60 yards. It's not a bad pickup. I know worse pickups than him, but if you're desperate for a running back, think of Coleman for the Jets.
Listen, when we talk about desperation, we know that when Ross is telling you to pick up a Jet, we have arrived.
Well, the thing is this, guys, we know this. There's a lot of running backs that are hurt. Zeke Elliott may not play. I mean, that's the rumor coming out of Dallas. They may rest him a week because they have such a big lead.
He's starting to show that he's not as effective as Tony Pollard. I mean,
I'm not disagreeing.
He could.
I agree 100%.
If Tony Pollard is out there anywhere, I mean, grab him. He's going to be useful with or without Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we're going to move on in a second, but I want to just make sure we check in with the fans. Guys, if you have comments, we'd love to discuss fantasy sports with you. And you're running out of time here. We only have this show and next week for football. So put your comments below. Let's argue some fantasy sports. We want to talk to you. In the meantime, our rankings are available each Wednesday at www.mfsn.tv. And you guys want to check in to see who you're going to start. You'll get to hear what I think, what Casey thinks, what Ross thinks. And it's always fun when we really disagree because then we can come back and argue about, oh my God, I can't believe you ranked this player this way. Love it. Like when I ranked Deebo Samuel like the 60th wide receiver.
I saw that. That made me laugh.
When you said he wasn't even ownable at the start of the season.
Listen,
then you traded
told me that he should be playing
then you traded for him in week 2, didn't you?
I did.
He should be playing for the Boston, the British Columbia team in the CFL you mentioned to me.
He hadn't struck me as having the track record, but on this show, one of the reasons you can trust us, we admit when we were wrong. Okay? So keep it coming. Guys, let's move to wide receiver. Casey, we're going to start with you. Who's your top pickup?
Well, I saw him today at only 49% owned, and I don't understand it. It's Van Jefferson for the Rams. I mean, the guy has just produced, it feels like, week in and week out. He had another long touchdown this week. Despite whether they sign OBJ or whether Cooper Kupp is their number one, this guy gets the ball week in and week out, and he produces. So, I think he's the top wide receiver out there without a doubt. I think he's like head and shoulders better than anybody else you can pick up right now.
I am very much inclined to agree. I mean, this guy, You could say he's boom or bust, but a lot of players are, and he's more boom than bust. Meanwhile, if there's an injury on that team, his value is just going to skyrocket. He's just different than everybody else out there.
Last week, he was out there for 98% of the snaps.
Yeah, they do a 3 wide receiver set week, like almost every play. So it just
not only that,
sense.
but it's that time of the week when I'm going to bash OBJ. It's just time. The guy is not that good. They're going to come to realize it.
67.
I know he had a good game. He's going to have good games. He's not terrible. But I think Van Jefferson's actually a better wide receiver.
There you go.
All right, Ross, who else do you have?
Kendrick Bourne of the New England Patriots, he's getting the most targets out of any receiver on the team the past 2 weeks. He had 61 yards last week, 2 touchdowns. It's not too bad, Casey Seinfeld, 2 touchdowns. He's the favorite receiver for Mack Jones. I like their passing game in New England. I like their defense. I like what they're doing in New England. They won 6 straight. They're playing unbelievable football. I think Kendrick Bourne is just going to get stronger and stronger when the season goes on, to be a great guy to have on your team during the playoffs. Kendrick Bourne is my number 1 wide receiver pickup for the week.
Okay, so now I'm torn between 2 guys to recommend. I know Kadarius Toney's hurt. So the question is, how hurt is he? I need an
How hurt is he? He's so hurt.
He's so hurt.
He can't even walk.
Casey, you're a Giants fan. How hurt is he?
Throwing it to him.
I have no idea. He was out pretty quick in early morning Sunday. He's
supposed to play this coming week. So
my source for Giant information is Casey Seinfeld. Casey, any news on him?
Just questionable, but expected to play. He's usually limited in practice Wednesday and Thursday. Gets the full walkthrough. And
then they're in Miami, so the weather's going to be beautiful. It's going to be 80 degrees. Nice breeze, no humidity. It's going to be beautiful in Miami for that game. So the weather is going to help Tony. It's going to help Daniel Jones also. If Tony plays, I like that pickup for you. Actually, that's a good pickup.
I really like that as a secondary pickup, and he has 0 touchdowns so far, but he's putting up good yards and he's making the gains that you would hope to see from a star rookie player. I think he's on the up and up. Rashad Bateman also, no touchdowns, but he's starting to show signs of life. And he's
going against Pittsburgh, and we saw what the Bengals just did to Pittsburgh's defense.
How about those Bengals? Let's talk about the Bengals for a half hour, guys. Are you guys ready? Okay, Joe Mixon, best game ever in his career, 165 yards, 2 touchdowns, unbelievable. Joe Burrow, probably the best quarterback we've ever seen in the past 50 years. Casey, you agree?
In the past 50 years
NFL
of Cincinnati? Of Cincinnati?
Who else in
receiver? Better than Boomer Esiason.
Kenny Galladay? What's it, Kenny Galladay?
Wait, hold on. You have to answer this question. Is he better than Boomer Esiason? And related question, is Boomer Esiason actually Phil Simms? They're the same.
They'll both have that bleach blonde hair. I love Boomer, University of Maryland product, the same school where Casey Seinfeld went to school.
Terps.
I like Boomer a lot. I'm not going to say anything bad, but I think Joe Burrow is going to be a better pro and win more playoff games than Boomer Esiason. So I'll go with Joe Burrow.
Listen, I'm going to give the Bengals some credit. That was not just the Steelers being bad. That was the Bengals picking them apart. Yeah, it was an impressive win. Any other wide receivers to mention?
Russell Gage of Atlanta. He had a touchdown. Ridley's not there. Gage is becoming his favorite target. If you need a receiver, you may want to pick him up and stash him somewhere. Atlanta has a weak schedule coming up. Ryan's going to be throwing the ball because they, first of all, if they're out of the playoffs, they'll just be airing it out. They don't care. So Russell Gage all of a sudden is his number 1 receiver. It's not a bad pickup.
And I would mention Marquez Callaway in New Orleans going against Dallas this Thursday, actually, on a short week. Dallas just got exposed a little bit defensively this past Thanksgiving Day, and so who knows? They're going to have to put up some points, and the New Orleans wide receivers could really help in that area.
And I have one more, just because they're always down a lot of points and they end up passing the ball like crazy, is the Detroit Lions. Right now, golf's favorite target is Josh Reynolds, the ex-Ram. He actually had a touchdown last week. He had 78 yards. He had 10 targets. He's been getting the ball a lot. So Josh Reynolds, if you need a receiver and you have a big roster, it's not a bad pickup, just because Detroit, they're always forced to pass at the end of the game.
It's very true. But is it worse to recommend a Lion or a Jet at this point?
Ooh,
Elijah Moore, we all love. I mean, Casey was on top of it.
I'm a big fan.
Casey and I had climbed on board that train a couple weeks before.
I know Casey was on top of that like a pit bull with a poodle. So, I have all these lines, guys. I can use them anytime I want. So just give me a chance and I'll do it. Don't worry.
All right.
So Marquez Callaway, I do think is a good pickup. 6 touchdowns.
Heidi ho.
The Cab Callaway of the Minnie the Moocher fame. I love it. One other guy just to mention, I know he's on bye, but you could, if you just have a roster spot and you need some wide receiver depth, scoop up AJ Green. He's 41% owned. He's putting up some really good numbers. I know he's old. I know he's on bye, but he's also on a really good team.
He was on bye last week, Dustin. He's got not on a bye.
Folks, don't listen to Dr. Jan Wait, hold on. On this show, we admit when we're wrong. I was wrong.
AJ
I was just
Green
looking at it.
Not on a bye. And he's playing this week. So, yes, it's a good pickup for AJ Green. I like that idea.
Okay, let's move to tight end, guys. Our favorite position to rag on, just because there's just not that much available. But, that kind of makes it low risk because you could play anybody and they could just boom or bust. Doesn't matter who they are. Who do you have 60% and under? Let's start with you, Casey.
Well, it was hard to find somebody I liked at 60% and under.
I'm glad we started with you then.
I'm gonna go with Evan Engram of the Giants is becoming more involved in their game script week in and week out, so he's somebody who can help you. And then Jack Doyle in Indianapolis, if you're desperate, he seems to be getting some looks lately from Carson Wentz, and we know that the Colts are going to throw the ball all the time. So it's you could do worse. I don't know how much worse, but you could do worse.
Now, there's two guys who are over 60%, but I'm just saying this so that you remember next year to listen to us. We talked about Logan Thomas coming back from injury, and Pat Freiermuth, we've been talking about for a while. Both are better to own than the rest of the players we're mentioning here. You wanted to pounce on that before. Now, what's left, Ross? I turn it over to you.
I mean, as Casey mentioned, Jack Doyle, six catches, 81 yards, touchdown last week. Cole Kmet of the Bears. God, why are you picking a Bear? Why? He had 11 targets. That's a lot.
I like Cole Kmet a lot.
65 yards. If my tight end got 65 yards and 8 catches, I would be very happy. Obviously, he's a favorite target of Andy Dalton. So Cole Kmet could be a good pickup for you, especially the Bears who are desperate to score points.
Lions and Bears and Jets. Oh, my.
Oh, my.
I can't believe you're recommending them all. But I don't disagree with you. Another guy that I do, I'm not in love with this, but Jared Cook, you can do worse than him on the Chargers. He's gonna evaporate in many of these matchups, but he also could give you a touchdown. He could even put up a big game potentially. He's got a great guy throwing to him, the Oregon kid, and I think that he can put up a lot of points. So I don't love it, but it's not a bad pickup. Meanwhile, Gerald Everett scored already tonight, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Casey Seinfeld reported to the group that he scored, and is it still 7-3?
Still 7-3.
Sounds like a burner.
Gerald Everett, listen, he's only got one of their touchdowns tonight, but they only have one, so it's not so bad.
That sounds like a horrible game. Ugh.
It does sound pretty bad. Anybody else to mention on the tight end of things, guys?
No, is Travis Kelce, is he over 60%?
Let's see. I'll check. Hold on. Yes, he is. He's actually in the triple digits ownership. 100% owned.
Kittle, is he available?
Kittle is a little more available. He is 99% owned.
Okay, those are my 2 picks.
All right. Not bad. Not bad at all. Meanwhile, Darren Waller is out. So
okay.
Let's
go to kickers or defense. What do you want to do first?
Let's go to defense, guys. Defense is kind of fun because you get to look at the matchups. And who would be your top pick? Who was it? Did somebody say Miami last week? And Ross,
I said Miami last week, and
they were
say Miami this week against the Giants in Miami. 82 degrees. I'm getting weather report right here. 82 degrees, 0% chance of rain, 2 miles per hour wind. It's going to be a beautiful day in Miami on Sunday. It's going to be great, Casey. We should actually fly down there for the game.
That'd be great if you can get me tickets.
You can buy tickets outside for $1. No one goes to Dolphin games. Are you insane?
Okay, but do we trust a man who thinks that the wind can be predicted this far? Okay, my number one pickup is exactly 60% rostered. The Indianapolis Colts are playing Houston. The Texans, they have a very anemic offense going right now. Indianapolis, meanwhile, is a very good team, very good defense. So I picked them up a couple weeks in advance, seeing this matchup, because listen, if you're in the playoff hunt, you really want to be able to deliver whatever you can. Defenses are haphazard. It could end up not working out, but it's a good play.
Now, I want to see a defense right now. Their quarterback was hurt yesterday. Denver's quarterback was hurt. Kansas City had a bye week last week. Their defense has really has like 180 degrees difference like in the past few weeks. Unbelievable. So I'm taking Kansas City's defense in Kansas City playing Denver just because of Chris Jones, and that whole defense has been coming together, looking great. And you know what? Denver's quarterback situation, it could be, I don't know if Drew Lock's going to play. We have to see. I don't think it matters. But if you need a defense and if your defense is on a bye week like Green Bay, it's not a bad pickup.
And I'll add one more. Minnesota is going against Detroit this weekend. So you can never go wrong with picking a defense. That's a great one, Detroit. Case. So I love that. They're not playing terrible right now. They're going at Detroit, Sunday game in a dome. So I just think if you have Hold on, I'm getting the weather report right now for the Detroit game. It's going to be 72 degrees. Okay, tell me what the weather's going to be in the dome, please. 72 degrees, 0 wind, 0% chance of rain. I like it. I just got it in my earpiece to my producer.
Amazing, Russ. The man knows his weather. Okay, now I'm also going to say the Philadelphia Eagles, they're playing the Jets. They're not the best play, but they're playing the Jets. That's helps, a good one. You know? When in doubt, play a team that is playing against
Houston, Jacksonville, team. Detroit,
Lions. Cleveland Browns.
The Bears, at this point, the Browns.
Giants.
Sure deserve that. But I like these pickups. Anybody else we should mention? I think we've pretty much covered it.
I think defense, we covered it. I mean, you guys should give it 5 defenses.
Okay, let's go to kickers. Kickers, you know, it's a crapshoot, of course, but we're gonna pick some guys who
kickers
either have good matchups or maybe guys that tend to hit the longer field goals and pile up the points. Case, who you got?
Case, it'll be good.
Well, how about Matt Gay for the Rams going against Jacksonville at home?
That's who I had.
That's certainly a good pickup. The other one you can maybe go with is Matt Prater at Chicago for those Arizona Cardinals. We're big fans of Matt Prater on this show, so I'm always going to recommend him if he's available.
Matt Gay playing Jacksonville in L.A. I was offered to go to that game, and I said, no, I'd rather play softball because my softball team's in the playoffs. So I'd rather play softball than see the Rams play Jacksonville. That shows you how much.
But Trevor Lawrence has the hair you've always wanted.
And then another kicker I like is Jason Sanders of Miami. It's going to, like I mentioned, the weather in Miami is going to be great. The Giants defense picked it up a little bit. I think they can stop some red zone stops, and they'll have to kick some field goals, Miami. So Jason Sanders, who proved it last year, I think he was the leading scorer for kickers, right, Case?
I think so, yeah.
So again, I look at weather a lot in November and December. It's going to be December. Wow, guys, it's going to be a December game this Sunday. That's incredible.
It's incredible. And listen, I think you are right. When you're looking at this stage in the year, I mean, I love Matt Prater, but he is playing in Chicago in December. Who knows?
Hold on, I'm getting the weather report right now. Chicago's going to be 29 degrees, wind gusts of 35 miles per hour,
but they're
according
always
to my
at
producer
Matt
Greg.
Back.
And there could be some snow blurries going on. I don't know what that means, but that's what Greg just told me.
Blurries. I don't know.
Great. My producer's telling me all this information right in my earpiece. So there you go.
But here's the thing. Again, Jason Sanders, not only does he have the big leg, and he's on a team that's probably going to be ahead because they're playing the Giants, but he's also playing at home in warm weather.
I just said that.
You didn't say warm weather.
I said 82 degrees 20 times.
Listen, I don't understand that that's warm weather. I need it really spelled out. Okay, another guy I like is Michael Badgley. He's playing at Houston. It's going to be, a good setup for a kicker, and they're going to be playing downhill all day.
You're 100%. That's a great pickup. But again, with kickers, there's a lot of kickers out there, guys. So don't stress about your kickers. I know this guy that picks up kickers like last minute, and he's actually right now. He's on the air right now.
Oh my God, who is it? I haven't been doing that for a while.
And he has a beard.
Okay, guys. Admittedly, it's me. I mostly once I get past the buys, I just stick with a kicker. You know why?
Oh, you do? Okay, got it.
Why.
I didn't know that.
If you keep changing out your kicker, you're gonna look back and be like, oh my God, if I had just left it alone, I would have won. The last thing I want to do is make a switch that I don't need to make. Just pick somebody and stick with it. Well, guys, that's our show in terms of who to pick up. Guys, anything to recommend in terms of strategies, what people should be thinking about at this point in the season, then we'll wrap it up here.
This is playoff run. A lot of injuries happened over the weekend. As you mentioned, like the 3 top picks of fantasy football are all out. So hopefully you handcuffed Cook. Hopefully you'll pick up one of the McCaffrey backups, and you'll be ready for the playoffs, because a lot of leagues lock waiver wire during playoffs. So make sure you have your teams ready for your roster. Make sure you're ready for injuries just in case. And bye weeks are almost over.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you've made the playoffs, pat yourself on the back. It's not an easy thing to do. The football season is long. It's hard. It's tricky. You can have a great draft and make smart pickups and still not make the playoffs. If you did make the playoffs, when it comes to setting your lineup, don't overthink it. Go with what got you there. Don't suddenly start saying, well, this guy's got a better matchup than my number 1 wide receiver, so I'm going to bench him in the first week of the playoffs. Run out the guys who got you the points all year long and got you there, and live with the result. That's the only thing you can do. You made the playoffs. Mazel tov. Good for you. Let's run our horses out there. Don't overthink it.
Okay, and here's one last strategy for playoff time. Don't let Casey go before you, because he takes your strategy and then you're left with nothing.
That's true.
I really was going to say the same thing. Don't overthink it, guys.
If you guys are NBA, if you have NBA waiver wire stuff you want to talk about, we have a show coming up on Thursday, which you have to tune in for. We have some great stuff going on.
Thursday, 4:45 p.m. Eastern, 1:45 p.m. Pacific. We also do have a hockey show every other week. That's on Fridays, 4 p.m. Eastern and 1 p.m. Pacific. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. And we do want to hear your comments, so please do put them below. We're happy to argue with you or even agree with you. Depends on what you say. Bring it on. In the meantime, our rankings are available each Wednesday at www.mfsn.tv, and we look forward to continuing to help you out with who to pick up in all the different leagues next week. Last waiver wire football show. Pay attention. This is crunch time. Let's get it done.
Hey everyone! Castmaster here, overload of knowledge and part-time customer service rep for KillCliff. Wanted to announce my new KillCliff Octane CBD flavor. Killer Cliff Sick. Yeah, that's right. It's orange and vanilla yumminess. Woo! I know your drink hole is going to be happy because I know everything. Just go to killcliff.com and get yours today.